Good evening, everybody. I hope that you can hear me loud and clear and that our internet connection is going smoothly. Just let me know in the comments if you can hear the transmission. I hope that you can. I hope everybody is having a lovely Sunday evening. Of course, we're all very much not happy with the overall outcome of the election. But let me tell you that there are so many great things in the works and we have so much to be excited about. You know, sometimes in life, things have to get really bad before the things get better. Who here has ever been in a situation like that? You know, sometimes the situation must get to completely rock bottom in order for there to be the type of groundswell that is needed for truly meaningful change. That's right, the type of impactful change that is permanent or at least can propel us forward a couple of generations. And that just tends to be the way that things go throughout history. If you open up the history books and you read about the times when certain people from various countries or civilizations were able to rise up and make some major societal and social changes, it was always when they were faced with utter adversity and the situation was dire in terms of living, cost of living, standard of living. That's what creates the climate for huge, significant change. So why am I saying this? Why am I talking about this now? Obviously, we're not happy that the Daniel Andrews Labor government has a majority in Parliament. We don't like it at all. And I dare say we're going to receive 4 more years of the same, or potentially worse. You know, we don't know what's around the corner, and that's one of the interesting things about life. That's what makes life interesting. You never know what's going to happen. But what I can tell you is that no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay. The sun is still going to rise in the morning and set in the evening. And whatever this crooked government throws at us, guess what? We're going to dig our heels in and we're going to fight back 10 times harder. We're going to do whatever it takes. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I'm so actually over the moon with the result from Freedom Party of Victoria. And I'm so proud of all of our candidates, everybody who supported us. And we are here to stay. I'm not leaving Victoria. I'm in here for the long haul. So rest assured, your buddy Morgan, I'm not giving up. I'm not leaving you. I'm not going anywhere. This victory, right? Let's call it a victory for Daniel Andrews. This is just motivating me because I tell you what, this man's not going to get away with it. And the longer he goes on and the greater unjust and unfair policy that he's able to enforce here in Victoria, guess what? The harder he will fall in the end. So I'm here to say, just don't give up hope. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. And I know a lot of people are feeling really upset. I actually didn't spend a single minute feeling upset. I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited to see what happens. You know, if things do get worse throughout during the next 4 years, as opposed to what we experienced, well, that is what actually provokes people, average men and women, to get into action. You need to remember that during COVID-19, although a lot of us suffered, a lot of us had our lives destroyed and were separated from our friends and family, and a lot of us are still traumatized and have PTSD. A lot of people actually benefited when you think about things like JobKeeper, right? Some people are actually making more money. They preferred to be at home. Now, I'm not justifying it. I'm just trying to put it into context. And of course, we saw the emergence of a COVID-19 industry where people were able to make huge amounts of money for doing very little. Even the people working at the testing stations, right? I heard they were earning a very high hourly wage. And of course, we saw the emergence of more government departments, more government workers. So actually, there were a lot of people supporting the government for more lockdowns, more restrictions, because it just created all of these useless jobs. And of course, a party like ours, Freedom Party Victoria, we would seek to get rid of all of those government departments. So we actually posed a major, major threat to the government. And that's why we received very little media coverage, yet we're still able to achieve 90,000 votes. That's right. Freedom Party of Victoria has obtained 90,000 votes. It's our first election. We ran candidates all across the state, and this type of result is unheard of. So what do we do now, ladies and gentlemen? And I know I'm jumping around a bit, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think there were a lot of people that actually they kind of like what Daniel Andrews did with the lockdowns. But when Daniel Andrews doubles down and we see the emergence of greater intrusions into our lives, I think that we'll have a true sort of further awakening where more people actually get involved. But anyway, we need to look forward, all right? We can't look backwards. And I am going to run through some data regarding the outcome of the election, because there were some things that were really surprising to me. But just so you know, we're not going anywhere, all right? This is only the beginning. So now more than ever, right, become a member of Freedom Party of Victoria, okay? So freedomparty.net.au. We are going to register federally. The party is staying intact. There's going to be regular branch meetings all over Victoria. So Daniel Andrews thought he could get rid of us by calling us names, calling us Nazis, calling us hateful. We're going to double down. We're going to come back 10 times harder. We're going to make this man's life an absolute living hell. And mark my words, if the last thing I'm ever involved in is bringing down the most corrupt person here in Victoria, and if you can play a role in doing that, then guess what? We've achieved something good in life. So a lot of people are probably thinking it's time to leave Victoria. Don't leave. Don't leave. Do not allow this government, this bully government, to drive you out of your home. Victoria is our home. We are natives to Victoria. This is our state, and we're not going to leave. We're not leaving. We're going to be a thorn in this man's side and all of his crooked colleagues. So who here agrees with my message? If you do, say I. Put something in the chat. Say, I'm down for the fight. Victoria is my home. And why should we leave our home? What do you think? All right. Anyway, I can see 844 of you. I'm so happy that you're here. If I'm jumping around a bit, I apologize. It's been a really crazy few months, and I haven't even had time to clean my shoes. I mean, it's just been hectic. It's been so crazy. So thank you all so much. Anyway, I'm going to talk about some data from the election here. Data that I think is pretty interesting. So let me just open up the browser so I can show you what I'm talking about. Alrighty, so what do we have? All right, check this out. We're looking at the district of Mulgrave. So they say Daniel Andrews received 51% of the primary vote, which of course puts him past the 50% mark, getting him re-elected. So why is this interesting? Well, first of all, the counting has not concluded, so there's still more counting to come, but that's not really the point here. So 51% for Daniel Andrews, 20% for Ian Cook. But here's the strange thing, and I'm just going to round up to make things easier. 16% for Michael Piastrino, the Liberal candidate. Now, I met Michael. He's a great guy. I like him a lot. He's a fighter. He's just like us. And he was not supported enough by the Liberal Party, but he went out there and did the absolute best he could with the resources he had. 16% for the Liberal Party. So you know what that actually represents? That represents a massive swing. A massive swing. So Michael's actually down 17% from the last election. So we go to 2018, the Liberal candidate received 33%. So 17% downward swing against the Liberal candidate in the seat of Mulgrave, and Daniel Andrews remains steady on his primary vote, right? So 2018, Daniel Andrews receives 57%, and of course in the election we just had, he received 51%. So 6% downward swing, yet on average, when we look throughout the state, the Australian Labor Party received 37% of the vote. All right, so when we compare the average Labor vote of 37% and we look at Dan Andrews' district, he obtained 14% higher than the average across the state. And I know that this doesn't necessarily say one thing or another. Of course, when you look from district to district, there's demographics that are more Labor-centric, demographics that are more Liberal-centric. But I think it's very surprising, especially considering how divisive Daniel Andrews has been and how unpopular his policies have been, that he was able to maintain such a stranglehold in Mulgrave. And, you know, he didn't even campaign in Mulgrave. I spent so much time out in the district. We never saw any Daniel Andrews buses. We never saw any advertising. He did a couple of letterbox drops with some, you know, really cheesy advertising material, but really his presence was nowhere to be seen. He didn't even show up to the polling booth. And that's because he's so unpopular and he's concerned about his safety. Daniel Andrews is concerned, right, that if he shows up in public, someone will commit some sort of act of violence against him. So he doesn't show up, and he'd rather just sort of hide in the background. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Liberal candidate down 17%. I mean, what the data indicates is when you look at Ian Cook's primary vote of 20%, what can we conclude? We have to say, well, Ian Cook took 100% of votes away from Liberal and did not take votes away from Labor, or if he did, only a couple of percent. I mean, when I look at someone like Ian Cook, I see a guy who is very likely appealing to both Labor voters and Liberal voters. He's kind of halfway in between, if you ask me. And when asked about Labor, Ian Cook was very quick to announce that he was not running against Labor. Actually, he supports Labor values. He was rather running against Daniel Andrews. Yet we see, based on the statistics, Ian Cook almost entirely only eating into the Liberal vote, not eating into the Labor vote. Why do you think that is? Can you put in the comments, why do you think that is? I hope it's making sense what I'm saying. What do you think about that? Put your thoughts in the comments. Let me just go and check on the comments to see what you guys are saying. Do you get what I'm saying, right? You see where I'm getting at with this. How does Ian Cook not steal votes from Daniel Andrews? How does Ian Cook only steal votes from Liberal? Is it possible that in the seat of Mulgrave, Daniel Andrews is just so incredibly popular, so loved that even Ian Cook, who I heard spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his campaign, was not able to gain any traction? And of course, our candidate Aidan did a tremendous job as well in Mulgrave, and he was out there working harder than anyone and most definitely carved votes away. And of course, those votes went down the chain and went through Liberal and would have ended up arriving at Ian Cook. But in the end, apparently, it just wasn't enough, was it? It wasn't enough to get rid of this guy. So we're gonna see how it plays out. Of course, we still have the postal votes. I do understand that postal votes are very popular among the Liberal voters, and we'll have to see how it plays out. Yeah, but this is the one thing I'm thinking, man, I thought Ian Cook for sure would take votes away from Labor, but yeah, the data suggests otherwise. Anyway, when we talk about the Liberal Party, I think what we're witnessing is the complete decimation of the Liberal Party here in Victoria. Matthew Guy's leadership has been weak. It's been cowardly. Matthew Guy has refused to stick a finger in Daniel Andrews' chest and to call him out for the hateful human rights abuser that he is. The man has not showed any courage, and it's demonstrated in the really pathetic results of overall of the Liberal Party here in Victoria. You know, if the Liberal Party was smart, I'll tell you what they would have done. This is back in, say, 2020, when Daniel Andrews and the Labor Party locked us down. What the Liberal Party should have done was called a crisis meeting with every sitting MP, and the narrative of the meeting would have gone to the effect of, all right, these lockdowns are wrong, businesses are going down, people are losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods and developing trauma. Let's go out onto the streets and stand with the people. Imagine that. Imagine every sitting Liberal MP in the first lockdown, they left their offices and they stood in the streets with the people and they protested. Because let's face it, the Liberals did not have the numbers in Parliament to do anything about the Labor government's policy. But if they stood with us and took a stand and actually showed a backbone, and if they got arrested with us and shot at with us, guess what? The Liberal Party in Victoria would be the most popular political party in the entire country. If they did that, I don't think I would have started Freedom Party of Victoria. I probably would have just joined a branch and said, well, thank you for standing up. What do you think? But they didn't do that. What did they do? They hid in the corner. They were scared to comment. Even during the campaign, we've seen very little resistance. Okay. I respect the Liberal candidate for Mulgrave, Michael Piastrino. He actually came out and he said that Dan Andrews is a murderer. And I respect him for saying that. He's a great guy. But of course, management, they don't approve of that sort of stuff. They don't want to rock the boat. They just want to send Matthew Guy in for these silly little debates where Matthew Guy smiles and shakes Daniel Andrews' hand, and you know, it's like a bunch of friends sitting around the campfire, whereas actually this election needed to be treated like a war, because it was. So what I'm trying to say is that the Liberals are finished. They are done. There is no longer any opposition in Victoria to the Daniel Andrews Labor government. So what does that mean? And what does that create? Well, it creates an opportunity to fill that void. Victoria needs opposition, all right? Victoria does not need good people to leave and to move to New South Wales and Queensland. No, Victoria needs more and more people to join this fight to be the resistance to a government that is not fit for purpose, a government that you know has stolen parents' rights and is only interested in becoming bigger and more powerful. So these shoes need to be filled by everyday people who are willing to fight, who are willing to do anything to protect our home, because this is our home. So what am I getting at? Where am I going with this? What I'm saying is join us. Join us. Our first election, 90,000 votes. Okay? Volunteers everywhere wearing white Freedom Party of Victoria t-shirts. No dirty deals. The vast majority of people with us, they're not career politicians. They're people that have experience in the real world. That's what government is meant to be. A real government should be made up of real people with real skills who know how to apply those skills, not these career politicians that pass ministerial hats around like they're playing musical chairs. So you know what, guys? I'm excited for the fight. I'm down for the fight. I'm down for whatever happens. I'm not going anywhere. I am not leaving you. Don't leave me. Don't leave Victoria. Go to freedomparty.net.au, sign up today, become a member. It's free. All right. We are going to be facing the most tremendous opportunity to create change. Why? Because there is a void now. There is a vacuum. There's no opposition. We are it. We are the resistance. We are the opposition. The future is ours. We just have to fight like crazy for the next, well, probably forever. Freedom's not free. It's not like you get freedom and then you have it. No, there's always some prick trying to take it away from you. So I come with a message of hope. Don't be sad. Don't be angry. Be motivated. Be motivated to dig deeper, work harder, fight harder. Join us. And let me tell you, I am so confident that the best is yet to come. Alrighty. Well, anyway, I'm gonna end on that note. I won't be too far away. I'm gonna take it easy just for a little bit. It's been a really hectic 3 years for me. I haven't done much in the way of actually doing anything, relaxing. So I'm gonna do a bit of that probably over the next few weeks. But I'm not going anywhere. I don't want you to go anywhere. We're in this together. All right. We're like a big family, all of us. We're more than a political party. We're a movement. All right. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving you. Don't leave me. Don't leave us. Let's do this and let's be the opposition. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Victoria, and long live the battle. All right. I'll see you soon, guys.
Mm-hmm.